Hi, this is David and welcome to the channel. So today all we're going to be doing is explaining how we finish the crossbar in order to install the completed crossbar assembly onto your kayak so you can enjoy your Freedom Launcher. So this is what I'm doing right here. We had a previous video where yesterday I mounted the crossbar onto the kayak. I used the finished side over here to align the legs and get it appropriately spaced away from the hull. Temporarily clamped it in place so that we could drill the horizontal or the vertical holes through the gorilla mount and use the gorilla mount as a drill guide to drill these holes, as you can see right there. So that's the right and that's the left. And what we do is we provide about 3 to 4 inches of excess material for you to cut off. And what this allows us to do is, in any particular boat with this particular slant, it allows us to fit various hulls. And so you as the user, similar to other applications, you either have to cut or slide around. In this case, we're going to cut this at an 8-degree angle. Now I prefer to use this, what is it, 12-inch, 96-tooth non-ferrous blade on my sliding miter saw. But if you don't have that, or you don't want to invest in one of those, I suppose you could use a bandsaw, you could use a hacksaw, you could use all sorts of ways in order to get an 8-degree cut. Put a compass there, draw an 8-degree line right here with a compass or protractor. That's what I used to do before I had a really precise sliding miter saw, and I just set this at 8 degrees and away we go. Now, one of the critical things you want to do is make sure that, you know, the angle should be creating a V, right? So this is the front, this is the front, this is the back, and you want to be sloping it just like your kayak is sloped with a V. So make sure the wide end is in the front here and that the wide end is in the front. So just to double check, you know, it's kind of sloping in towards my body, sloping in towards my body. I've got it oriented properly, and because I don't want to make the wrong cut, or I may have a disappointing day. So, you know, without further ado, I'm going to line up. Okay, so the other thing, we put some tape right on the outside of the gorilla bracket here, and what that allows us to do is measure from here out, and from here should be the same distance. So, you know, for me, I think it was a little over 9 inches, right? So, since we believe we have things squared away, yeah, it's like really close to 9.5 inches from the edge of that tape, which is the same width, or I guess from the edge of the gorilla bracket, it's 10 3/8. So from the edge of the gorilla bracket, be inside the tape, it's 10 3/8. So I basically have given myself the same wiggle room on both sides. There is a little bit of play in the system so that the leg and the axle lock, which is the thing that might bump against the boat, which is plastic. So, and it has a sloped edge. So if it ever bumps up against the boat, it's plastic against plastic. It's just incidental bumping. It will not create anything of a problem back there unless maybe you have a sticker at that particular location. That could be the only thing I can think of. But otherwise, it's going to sweep very nice and gracefully, hopefully right up against the hull, and have a nice tidy look. So I'm ready to make this cut. This came pre-drilled. These we drilled yesterday as a result of, first of all, mounting the gorilla bracket and then using that as guides to drill these holes. And now we're going to cut at the end of this bar. We're going to then use this tooling to precisely put it underneath and precisely drill the hole. So this tooling is provided in every kit to allow the end user to drill these holes precisely, precise angle and precise spacing. both from the edge and within each bore, so that it matches up perfectly with the freedom bracket that goes on it. So, and then after that, we just tap in the end cap, and that's got a very solid center so that the end of the tube does not get crushed as we tighten those 5/16 bolts. So let's go ahead and get started. So we've completed the cut. Looks good. There's always going to be some metal shavings in there. Try to tap those out and throw this in my recycle bin. I'll take this and just bump it up against a rubber mat just to get the shavings out. I can vacuum that up later. All right. Okay. You can see in there there's still a few shavings. So now what I'm going to do is just clean up the ends of this. What I like to do is deburr the inside, deburr the outside. The outside is just so easy to do with a little bit of a belt sander, just to give it a finished look. And for the inside of the tube, whether it's round or square, I'll just like to hit it a couple times with this little Shaviv deburring tool. Works pretty good. And I guess I'll just demonstrate it here. Just pull. I like to just kind of pull on it. Go probably twice. And what that will allow you to do is more easily insert the end cap, because the end cap is a friction fit inside the tube to provide a nice tight alignment. Going to go ahead and put on ear hearing protection again in order to got a little foot control on this little jet sander. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off the edges on the ends. That's really all there is to it. Go ahead and take that tape off now. And goodbye, spider. Now, one last thing I like to do would be to just clean up the holes here because as the drill pressed through on the bottom, you know, it left a little bit of a material. Just going to run around that a couple times too. Okay, so one last operation, and that is the end cap drilling procedure, as we talked about earlier. It's really very basic. So this needs to fit like this. Now the bar, typically probably it's going to be upside down because you want to match the curve, the front edge of this with the front edge of the unfinished tube. It's a slip fit just like so. What I'd recommend, what I like to do is just put a quick disconnect wood clamp there so it doesn't move on you. And there's just a little bit, there's about 15 thousandths, 10 thousandths of wiggle room, so just push it and grab your 5/16 drill bit. And all you're going to do is just punch those holes through on the end there and drive the end cap in, and we have a completed crossbar. And I like to use a drill or a vacuum just to keep the place tidy. I forgot, it's always a good idea to clamp both ends because of the torque. Just keeps things from moving on you. You can see how nice that borehole looks now that we've got it drilled through there. Just a nice clean bore. Now I'm going to demonstrate what happens if you don't use a vacuum on the first part of the next hole, just so you can see how much debris there really is that just kind of gets in the way of stuff. So without the vacuum, you know, you're going to make a mess here, you're going to make a mess on the floor. That's all from that cut. The rest really got sucked up. So all you know is that aluminum chips are really sharp. I've got hands to prove it. And it's just best to try to collect them at the point of creation if you can help it. It just keeps your shop, your boat, whatever, wherever you're drilling, a lot cleaner and tidier. Just a tip. All right, so we're going to go ahead and drill the bottom half of the second hole now. Okay, so you'll notice now basically there's no debris on the ground. There's really no debris there. Sorry. You got two great holes, and we're ready to rock and roll with this thing. I'm so excited to get this. I've been looking forward to doing this upgrade on my boat for months, literally, and there was always just something more pressing to do, but now it's time to take care of my needs as well. So here it goes. So you'll notice, you know, I had the vacuum when you're going through the top wall, vacuum up here. When you're going through the bottom, there's a gap down here. And so, you know, it's best to put the vacuum underneath the tooling so that you can just suck it out, and it just keeps your floor clean. I know you're only going to be doing this once, but if you're a dealer and you're doing it all the time, it's just the tricks I've found to keep the shop tidier. There you go. There we have our holes. And again, since we just made them, I'm going to go ahead and deburr them a little bit. I have a pretty tight shop. I envy those people who have a huge shop. I don't have a huge shop. I've got a one-stall garage. I've got about 10 power tools here in a one-stall garage. I do have 100 amp sub panel, so I can handle whatever I put out here. But that's pretty good. So that being said, now the last step is going to be, okay, now it's back. This is on top. This is the left, and this baby's going to be a friction fit, right? So it's going to be, well, okay, it slipped in pretty good actually. And now, there could be a little bit of misalignment with those holes. This end cap has been pre-drilled with some holes, but everything has to line up perfectly. And you may need to remount that plastic so that the bore is clean for the bolt, right? In this case, you can see that the rear hole is clean, but the front hole has just a little bit of plastic. I'm not sure if that's, whatever it is, you're going to need to just probably ream that out in order to get the mounting bolt through that hole, but it won't take much, just a touch. What I do is I just hold down. Looks pretty good. There's just a little bit of stuff there. Just to make sure that the the mounting process goes as smoothly as possible. So there you have it. We now have a completed crossbar assembly with the right and the left both canted in at the same degrees. We've used this tooling to get the precise holes and the precise angle. We've measured it so that it just fits my boat. It's a solid piece of structure that's going to take the torque. It's going to transmit torque all across between both wheels are going to be putting into this. It's a solid, rigid structure, and it really is a great way to transmit all those loads from the hull, from the wheels into the hull, and do it in a way that is as soft as possible on the boat, the best way I know how. It's been working for me so far. So the next step really is just to go and install it on the boat and go have fun.